Okay, so I'm just going to walk through a few examples of the single replacement reactions on the study guide. Before you start, you're going to want to make sure you have the reference sheet or your notes so that you can look at the rules and the activity series. You're going to need to have those on hand before you start. So I'm going to do a few of these. I think I'll just start with maybe some of the odds and then just kind of work my way down. That way you can see a few examples of each type of reaction, but then you can still have a few to practice yourself as well. So the first step is to write down my charges. So I'm just going to reference back to this sheet here, and I'm going to write down the charges. So sodium is 1 plus, magnesium is 2 plus, chlorine is 1 minus. The second thing I'm going to do is just check my activity series to make sure a reaction will occur. So I want to make sure that sodium is above magnesium, which it is. So there's sodium and magnesium. Sodium is more reactive, so it will react. So it is going to take the place of magnesium. So that means I'm left with magnesium by itself. And then I'm going to have sodium, which has a 1 plus, and chlorine, which has a 1 minus. When those charges crisscross, they cancel out or they are invisible. So I'm left with just NaCl. Number 3. Again, the first thing I'm going to do is write down my charges. I know copper is going to be some type of positive charge. Aluminum is 3 plus. Sulfur is 2 minus. The second thing is look in my activity series to see if this reaction will take place. Here's copper, and here is aluminum. So because copper is below aluminum, then I am going to write no reaction. Copper is less reactive than aluminum, which means that it is not going to replace aluminum in the reaction. Let's look at number 5. So again, the first thing I'm going to do is write my charges. I know copper can either have a 2 plus or a 1 plus. I know that sulfur has a -2. And because there's no numbers down here, no subscripts, I know that they were canceled out. The only way that that can happen is if copper is a 2 plus. So I know that aluminum is going to try to replace copper. I can check my reference sheet. Aluminum is above copper, which means that it will replace it. So aluminum is going to take the place of copper. That means copper is going to be by itself. And I'm going to have aluminum, which has a 3 plus charge, and sulfur, which has a 2 minus charge. Now when these crisscross, that means the 2 is going to come down here, and the 3 is going to come down here. So I'm left with Al2S3. So my answer is this right here. Okay, so all of these are rule number 1. I'm just replacing a metal with another metal. The next set here, these are rule number 2, I believe. replacing with water. Yep, lone metal replaces with water. Notice my products are going to be a hydroxide and a hydrogen gas. So remember, that is because, let's do number 7, water is going to separate into hydrogen ions and hydroxide ions. So because magnesium is a positive, it's going to replace the hydrogen. So again, I want to double check with my activity series. Magnesium is right here, and it says it does react with steam. It is above the hydrogen, so that means it will replace the hydrogen. So when that happens, remember it kicks out the hydrogen. Hydrogen's diatomic, so we always write it with an H2. Now magnesium has taken the place of the H and is bonded with the OH ion. When I write my formula, the 1 is going to crisscross down. It is invisible. The 2 from magnesium is going to crisscross down, but it's not just 2 hydrogens. Remember, this is a polyatomic, OH. So I'm going to put parentheses because there's 2 of those entire ions. So again, my answer is this. Let's look at one more. Number 9. So if I look at my reference sheet, I'll notice that mercury, Hg, is down here. Notice how it doesn't say it reacts with water, and it's below the hydrogen. So this is going to be a no reaction because mercury is not reactive with water. Okay, let's look at, this is rule number 3. Let's look at 11. So again, copper is either going to be a 2+ or a 1+, so I'm just going to put a plus for now. I know my hydrogen is 1+ and chlorine is 1-. So this is an acid because it's starting with an H. So I'm going to look and see if copper reacts with acids. Copper is down here at the bottom. Notice it does not react with acid. It's below the hydrogen. So I'm going to write NR, no reaction. Let's look at 13. 13, zinc is a 2+, hydrogen is 1+, and a bromine is 1-. That means zinc is going to try to swap with hydrogen. So let's look at my activity series. Zinc is located right here. It says it reacts with acids and it is above hydrogen. So my reaction will take place. Remember, when it kicks out the H is going to be by itself. Hydrogen is diatomic, so we write it as H2. Zinc is now going to be bonded with bromine. In order to write that formula, the 1 is going to crisscross down. It will be invisible. And the 2 is going to crisscross down below bromine. So my answer is H2 plus zinc bromide, ZnBr2. All right, let's look at one of these. This is number 4. I just have 2 examples here because these are essentially the same thing as rule number 1. you're just swapping an anion instead of a cation. So I know chlorines and bromines have a 1- charge, and calcium has a 2+. So I just need to check my reference sheet to make sure that chlorine is going to react with bromine, right? Yep, make sure I had the order right. So because chlorine is above bromine, that means yes, my reaction will take place. So chlorine is going to swap places with bromine. So that means bromine is going to be by itself. And remember, it's a diatomic, so we write it with a Br2. And then I have calcium. And notice my chlorine is going to come at the end of calcium because I'm replacing the bromine. So I want to make sure I put it in the same spot that the bromine was. So that means my formula, the 1 is going to crisscross down to be invisible. Sorry. And then chlorine, the 2 is going to crisscross down at the bottom. So my answer is right here. And I'm going to give you one more just so you can kind of have the practice. So let's do fluorine plus potassium bromide. There we go. So now maybe you can try that one as well as number 16. And that way you can kind of see one more of this rule number 4. So hopefully that's helped. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. I'll be happy to work more problems for you.